nice.
Hey YouTubers, Grimmy here, and this is the video review for the Transformers Combiner War Defensor. And once again, we are going to be doing an entire group because I want to get the whole combiner in one shot. Yeah, I know it's a little crazy, but I think in this case it kind of works for me, so we're going to go with it. As you can see, we got the Protectobots, all 6 of them. Yeah, you heard me, 6. They added a new guy, but they're keeping the old guy in, so alright, works for me. But you got the entire group here. We have First Aid, Blades, Hotspot, Groove, Streetwise, and Rookie Rook. Yeah, Rookie Rook. Okay. But, yeah, we got the nice set here. As you can see, Groove has been downgraded from being a limb to just a support character, or support figure. For scale purposes, I guess. Although, when you think of a big SWAT tank thing with really tiny window right there, next to a much larger police car, that's next to a somewhat too small rescue helicopter, and a somewhat too big ambulance, and it doesn't even scale well with the fire truck. Yeah, I think the scale kind of went down to failure, but that's fine with me. I don't really care about scale with these guys. I kind of do, but not so much the vehicle modes, but the robot modes. I'm weird like that. I care about the robot mode scales, but not so much the vehicle modes. Oh well, anyway. Back to the figures. As you can see right now, they're fully loaded up with all their weapons and hand-foot gun things. So why don't we take a moment to try to get them down to bare basics, shall we? Okay, that's a little better. So why don't we get down to looking at these guys a little bit more closer, huh? We'll just get this down. Ready? Let's bring First Aid into stage. As you can see, he's a nice ambulance. Got a bit of a thicker back than the front where the engine is. But that's perfectly fine since this is where the people go. Yeah, he's an ambulance. Nicely painted. Got the little rescue stripes and the word rescue on there on the sides. Painted windows all the way from the front to about here. Unfortunately, no paint on the back, which is a bit of a bummer. Would have liked to see some of this nice detailing go all around. As you can see, nice Autobot symbol tempoed on. Headlight, like the little siren lights. All in all, pretty good. I wish the hubcaps were painted. I always like the hubcaps painted. So that's just how I feel about it. But still, it's a nice little ambulance. And since this is pretty much a retool of Off-Road, we'll bring him in. And wow, there's quite a difference. Aside from the obvious pickup truck versus ambulance kind of thing, yeah, I mean, I'd say just about everything is a fresh tooling, except for maybe the wheels. So yeah, it's really hard to even think of this as a repaint. I think maybe some of the robot mode parts are shared, but the vehicle mode parts are completely different. So yeah, Hasbro did pretty good. Get him out of the way, and next up will be Blades, who is a straight up repaint of Alpha Bravo. Complete with rescue foam missiles. Yeah, apparently these missiles are loaded with foam that's meant to put out fires. Okay, concussive force can do that, so create a shockwave that will knock out a flame, but yeah, kinda hard to see missiles on a rescue vehicle, but still, other than that, I think it looks pretty nice. Got a nice little rescue symbol on the back, complete with Autobot Coastal Rescue. That's pretty cool. You know, if they put life rafts of some kind, or, you know, something that isn't heavy artillery, this might be a little better, but whatever. You know, I can't complain too much. For the most part, it does a great job of being Blades. And just because I can, let's bring in Alpha Bravo. So you can see the sculpt really doesn't have any differences between them. It's just the paint job. Honestly, cool as Alpha Bravo is, and I like the look of Blades better. Although the missiles do look better on Alpha Bravo. So yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. Still, if you didn't for some reason care for Alpha Bravo, but really wanted a taste of this mold, Blades is your man. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Alright, next up we'll look at Groove, our little guy, who's this nice little motorcycle. Pretty sweet looking. Got a good bit of black and white and silver. Well, that silverish gray. With a gold windshield, just for flair. And Autobot symbol. Oh, too far. And a nice little painted Autobot symbol inside the star at the back. And decent amount of sculpted detail. You got the seat right here. Got this little back thing with some boosters, so you can go really fast. But all in all, it's a nice little motorcycle. Okay, next up, we'll save Hotspot for last, but we got Streetwise here, who again, full retool of didnt, and he looks really cool as a police car. I hear this one's going to be Prowl in the next wave. And one of the like either off-road or first aid will be Ironhide. I'll get into that later, I guess. But yeah, back to Streetwise. Really nice bit of blue. Got the police logo right on the sides and on the front. Nice big Autobot symbol right there. Lots of sculpted detail. You got vents and you got the barricade on the front. The headlights are painted. Really nice setup. Good windows. Light bars in there. Pretty good. And all in all, an interesting sculpt to them. And very little in terms of shared parts. like we'll bring in Didnt, my freshly repro labeled Didnt. As you can see, the sculpts are almost entirely different. In fact, I would say completely different. I'm hard-pressed to find a shared part anywhere on the vehicle mode aside from the tires. I mean, looks like everything is a completely new sculpt as far as the vehicle mode goes, which Hasbro's been really doing a good job of doing this. I mean, just keeping everything fresh while keeping the same transformation schemes. So it's going to be interesting how things go from here on out. Yeah, pretty sweet. Didnt out of the way. And yeah, I like the Didnt rolled. I love Wild Rider, and Streetwise is also really cool. Hard to pick a favorite among them. I'd say Wild Rider just because I like Wild Rider a lot. Okay, but now we got to Rookie Rook. Yeah, that's what I'm going to call him from now on. Rookie Rook. But yeah, technically his name is just Rook. It has a pretty solid vehicle mode. A nice big brick of a SWAT tank. Or a SWAT personnel carrier. I mean, take a look at this thing and tell me that doesn't bring tank to mind. Sure, it doesn't have treads, but it is an armored vehicle. A heavily armored vehicle. So yeah, it's really cool. Again, it's a police vehicle. Fits in fine with the Protectobots. And you saw how he has plenty of spots for, like you have plenty of ports for weapons on the top. And one at the bottom too, which you can pop in his Jaws of Life pliers. So you can actually have him go in and open doors, pry them open, grab and tug, all kinds of rescue type items that you can do with him. And of course, since his little port thing is designed specifically for it, you can put a tank turret on top, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I believe TJ Omega speculated this might be Brawl. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if it showed up with the Combaticons. Heck, it might even come with a replacement for Swindle. In case you haven't seen the latest issue of Windblade, like Transformers Windblade, but yeah, pretty sweet. I like it. This is a really cool figure, and definitely really awesome for the spare limb guys. Now, Takara is going to release a new deluxe size Groove with their Defensor set. Might not make it to the States, I don't know. We might see it, we may not. But hopefully we will. Anyway, let's get to Hotspot, who is really cool looking in his nice sized fire truck vehicle mode. And he is a long sucker. I mean, take a look. He's about as long as two of the other Protectobots. In fact, very close to being as long, which is pretty cool. Now he's got the nice bit of blue. Paint details are sparse, but the good ones are there, like the fire rescue with the flaming Autobot symbol. No hubcap paint, again, which is unfortunate. None of these guys have hubcap paint, which really makes me sad. You got a nice painted front. The grill with the headlights is painted. Got the windshields. Those vents could use paint, but whatever. Siren lights are painted. But yeah, nothing else as far as paint that's really visible in the vehicle mode. Well. But you do have a working ladder, which has some articulated points, like an articulation point right there, and right there. Even has a sculpted in, ooh, hard to really make it show, but there we go. Let's see. You have the bucket sculpted in with some grading on the inside to really make it look like a actual piece of the fire truck. And you got the nice little sculpted on water hose, little barrel. It's pretty cool. So I do like that. And much like Rookie Rook, he is an original sculpt, so there's nothing really to compare him to. But since I got her here, let's bring in Deluxe Strong Arm. He's quite big for a Deluxe, at least in vehicle mode. Again, I wonder about that whole scale thing. Okay, but anyway, I think that's enough about the vehicle modes. So why don't we get these guys into robot mode and see how they look there. Alright, now that we got the team in robot mode, they're looking pretty nice. And nice cohesive units, although Rookie Rook looks kinda out of place with all the blue instead of the red that the other team members have. I mean, true, Groove doesn't have a lot of red on him either, but he has a little bit on his legs. But Rook has mostly just blue on his body. Well, blue and white. The white works. Like, they all have the white except for Hotspot, of course. But, so there's a little bit that keeps him in the group, but, you know, it would have been better if he was blue and red. He would have fit in a lot better. But, color scheme nitpicks aside, I do like this team. And Rook is, we'll start off with Rook because he is really cool. And this has got to be one of the coolest molds they've come out with so far. I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about him being in the Protectobots. I mean, he fits. Granted, he does fit, but, you know, as a Transformer in general, he is awesome. I mean, he is a big, bulky, blocky dude with cannons on his fists that can double as ports for his weapons, like his Jaws of Life. But yeah, he can punch someone and shoot them at the same time, which is awesome. Like a cannon punch! Pow! Boom! Yeah. I like that concept. I also love the way he is so big and burly. And yeah, he's a big chunk of bot. So this is a really cool dude. And the head sculpt is done pretty nicely as well. Got the Autobot. Oh, come on, focus, focus, focus. There we go. The Autobot symbol is right on the top of his helmet. Which, it's an interesting helmet piece. Got a football-like face guard on there, with a regular robot face behind it, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, he really looks like he's meant to go into the front lines, which is odd since the bio pretty much describes him as a strategist. Well, whatever. I think he's cool either way. But, yeah, I mean, this is a nice mold, and I do like it. Rumors are rampant about who he might be repainted as. You know, could be Brawl or someone else, like one of the Combaticons. I mean, the body does fit with the Combaticon idea, so we might see him a couple ways in the future. Don't know for certain. But let's get to his articulation. We got a ball-jointed head, ball-jointed shoulders, bicep swivel, hinged elbow, waist joint, universal hips, thigh swivel, nice tight knee bend, and ankle pivot. So yeah, he's got it all. This guy's got it all. And since it is obligatory, because why wouldn't you? Let's give him the Hulk hands. So, yeah. There, Rook Smash! Roar! Yeah. It's a silly thing, but it's cool. So yeah, we got that. But that about do it for Rook. Now, well, just another note, he does have the Jaws of Life that fits in his cannon thing very nicely. So yeah, that does it for Rook. Next up, Streetwise. And this is really cool. This is off the same mold as didnt and Wild Rider. Well, heavily retooled. In fact, there is very few shared parts between him and didnt. So yeah, I mean, I think the shared parts were limited to the hips area, because all these legs, those are all new tools. So yeah, but they even gave him a different weapon than the Stunticons. Instead of that melee pipe, he gets a boomstick. He gets a whole shotgun. And yeah, I think the Stunticons got gypped, because that shotgun is pretty cool. Triple barrel. Nice long. Has a sight on it for whatever reason. And ready to shoot people down. He's ready for Techno Zombie Apocalypse. But let's get him compared with didnt here. And once again, very few differences to speak of. I mean, very few similarities to speak of. I mean, the chest plate's different, the head's different, of course. The arms, the feet. I mean, yeah, it's all different. And there's not much that's the same between the two, which is actually really cool. I think Hasbro did a good job of retooling these guys. Love it. Yeah. Now, despite having so many differences, the articulation is just the same as Dead End. Ball jointed head, ball jointed shoulders, bicep swivel, yeah, the hinge, waist. Same thing as Rook, really. Except no ankle pivots. Yeah, Rook's the only guy who gets ankle pivots out of the whole team. Which is okay with me, I guess. But, yeah, street-wise looks pretty sweet. Now we'll get to the little guy, being Groove here. Groovy Groove. And he's not bad looking. Ooh. And pretty simple. Very tall. I mean, well, for this size. Just because he's got these really long legs. And those legs are huge long. Which is strange. Well, I guess it's okay because Rook had... Like, they transform exactly the same as the G1 Rooks, if I remember right. But still, strange that he's got such a big... Well, such big legs, you know? But if it works, it works. I mean, quick size comparison will get him up with his wave mate, the Viper. The Window Viper. But, yeah. Okay, he's a little bit taller than the Viper, but not by much. Okay. But yeah, it's just these legs that are really long because of the way he transforms. I really wish they would have collapsed in a little bit. I think it would have helped him considerably. But articulation, nothing at the head, which is a shame. Ball jointed shoulders, ball jointed elbows, ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, and knee bend. That's pretty much it, but that's all he really needs because he's fairly stable, nicely balanced, and looks really good. Plenty of detail. Nice teeny tiny little Autobot symbol right on his chest. Gotta zoom in quite a bit to see it, but it's there. Very sharp, very detailed, despite being practically the size of a pencil tip. But I do like that detail. I think he turned out really nice. Next up, we'll look at Blades. Again, the Alpha Bravo repaint, who looks fairly good. Really well painted. Got the nice silver paint apps on the chest and at the waist. I like the way they painted the missiles and the hands. I think that turned out pretty good. Feet are pretty done. Are done pretty well. So the paint is pretty good. And that head is nice. Got a really cool robot head. I like the fact that they kept the block shape of the Scramble City. And he looks pretty good. We'll get a comparison in with Alpha Bravo. And yeah, I mean, these guys are both pretty cool. I like Blades a little bit better, but honestly, either one of them would be just fine for your collection if you can only get one. Although, I think since Slingshot's available, I'd go with Blades so you can just get Defensor ready to go. So yeah, that's Blades for you. And really nice looking. Articulation is the same as the Alpha Bravos. Ball jointed head. Yeah, we've been through this before. Just about everybody's got the same articulation here as far as the Limbots are concerned, at least. Although this one does have a little T-tent in the waist swivel to when you straighten it out, and there are detents in the elbows as well. But other than that, exactly the same. Oops. Knocked him over. Okay, but now we get to first aid. The pacifist, who for some reason has a battle axe, or a medical hatchet for needed amputations, I guess. Whatever. But yeah, first aid looks really good. Okay. All joking about the weapons included aside, first aid looks really nice. I mean, that head sculpt, I mean, that really looks good. Does bring to mind the IDW incarnation of first aid, as well as the G1 character, who had a couple appearances. Actually had an episode in the Ultimate Weapon where he left the Autobots. Perfect reason to justify Rook right there, even if you wanted to keep Groove as a full-size Autobot. But yeah, I mean, the face, the body is really nice. And again, it doesn't look like it really shares a lot with Off-Road. In fact, we'll bring Off-Road in. Okay, sorry about that. But as I was saying, there are a lot of differences between Rook and Off-Road as far as the body sculpts are concerned. Again, it amazes me how well Hasbro is getting at making two different bots off the same skeleton but have so many sculpted differences. I mean, look at these two. Chests are different. The arms are different. The forearms are different. I think maybe this part here that's in red and blue on Off-Road is the same. I also think this part's the same. Like the hips and the waist piece are the same, but the thigh, like the shins and the thighs are the same, but the shins are different. Way different. These arms are just different. The door panels are different, obviously. Chest is different. Well, the combiner port's the same. But yeah, it's incredible just how many differences there are between these two. I think that is awesome how Hasbro's been doing that. So yeah, I mean, that in itself is really good. And I can't wait to see what's next in store for these guys. But yeah, let's get this guy out of the way. We'll continue looking at first aid, who is really impressive. Articulation's the same as the other Limbots, so I'm not going to bother getting into it again. I think you've seen it, what, 3 times already? 4 if you include Groove, but he's a different sculpt. But yeah, I do like first aid. I think this is really a cool one. And also, as far as favorites of these these guys go, I'd say it's First Aid or Rook. First Aid because, you know, he always interested me in the G1 cartoon since his little character arc episode. And Rook because that is a sweet sculpt. So yeah, I'm gonna say that right now. And now let's get into Hotspot himself. And he's a pretty impressive big guy. Let's get him standing a little straighter. Hotshot's pretty cool. I can't say he's without problems, mainly because of the obvious bit of kibble. Just because of the way it just hangs out in the back, it can get in the way sometimes, but it can also be a third leg if you want it to be. So it's got its positives and it's got its negatives. Let me see something. Because I don't want to put it up like this, because then he has this huge backpack. And I mean, unfortunately, there's really no way to arrange this where it looks good. I hate to say it, but yeah, this is one of those times it's just there's a piece of kibble that there isn't anything that can be done about it, which is unfortunate. But Hotspot, otherwise is a really good figure. I mean, you know, thanks to that kibble, he has a guaranteed solid stance. No matter what pose you get him in, that third leg is going to help him stay stable. I mean, there's very little chance that he's going to fall over anytime soon, which is awesome news. And the character design, like the figure design, is really good. I love the way they went with the blue head with a darker blue visor or faceplate. I think that goes pretty good. The red chest is nice. And I love the way the sculpted detail and paint replicate the stickers that was on the original toy. That is a definite positive. And, you know, he's nice, bulky, big, really has a solid figure, or a solid sculpt. I don't know what else to say for it, but and, he is really a cool looking figure. Now, articulation wise, he's got a ball jointed head, which is good. Shoulder rotation. Also got a hinge right below the shoulder, as well as the 90-degree elbow for a double jointed action. No wrist, but he does have a bicep swivel, which is good. No waist joint, unfortunate, but true. He does have forward-backward movement at the hips, as well as in and out. Thigh swivel. A nice deep knee bend. And that's about it for articulation. As you can see, he does have the twin guns that his G1 self had. Pretty good. And as it so happens, I have a gun from a KO Defensor, like one of those cheap $10 ones. And this one is a lot more detailed than the original, so yeah, kudos to that. But yeah, I mean, right, Hotspot is a really nice looking figure. Can't say perfect due to the back kibble getting in the way, but it's also obvious that he's going to be repainted into Onslaught, especially with these two pylons in the back just looking like Onslaught's guns. I mean, I can definitely see a Bruticus modification out of this, although they're really going to have to do something different considering how he transforms into Defensor, because I don't think Bruticus is going to be able to transform the same way. But speaking of Defensor, why don't we see how these guys look combined? Okay, and now we got Defensor all combined, and wow. This is one big chunk of a robot. And he is nice, bulky, big, and he's looking like a powerhouse. And take a look, these are really thick arms, nice thick legs, and a very sturdy torso. It's pretty good, and I really like this Defensor figure. Now, as you can see, Groove does indeed combine with Defensor, but as a default, he's pretty much been regulated to a like a chest piece. So yeah. Still, can't complain too much. It looks good. Does look nice. But if you don't want him on there, you don't have to have him on there. He does have his own, like, regular Defensor G1 style chest plate. And if you want, it's possible to actually put Groove onto Rook. Of course, the effectiveness is questionable at best. But I'll see if we can at least show you what it's like. So basically, you just pull down Rook here, pop Groove in, just get his hands around a couple latches, and pop them on like that. Just adjust the chest piece, or the windshield, just so it doesn't show his face. And then there you have Groove on the leg where he's supposed to be. Although it's a little weird. Now, I think I mentioned this before, but Takara is releasing their own Defensor with a deluxe class Groove that will fully replace Rook. So you can get your G1 style Defensor that way. Hopefully we'll see that deluxe Groove in the States, but it's uncertain. Still, let's get into Defensor's articulation. He has left-right swivel at the head. Ratcheted shoulders. In and out ratchets. He has a bicep swivel. Pretty much double jointed elbows, although this one only gets a double, like about 90 degree. And that's pretty common blades gets a little bit more, so it'll vary from robot to robot. He does have ratcheted hips, which are pretty much Hotspot's hips. So we got the in and out and everything. Got a ratcheted knee. And I just knocked off a tire by mistake. It just pops back on, so it's not broken. In fact, boom, fixed. Okay, good as new. Yeah, you just gotta be careful about the tires because they can get caught on some of the other parts. And yeah, another thing you need to be careful is when moving the right leg. That one is a little looser as far as the combiner connection goes, as far as the connection at this point goes. So it'll pop out if you're not careful. Now, you may have noticed that the feet are kind of loose on these two here. I don't know if that's just because I've been using the Perfect Effect parts, but yeah, they've been like that for a while. In fact, I think they've always been like that. Then again, I put the Perfect Effect parts on first because that's what I normally use. I like the bigger feet, so. But yeah, that's a mileage may vary thing. But a little floor polish around the pegs should fix that pretty well. As you can see, he can hold Hotspot's guns pretty well. And since it's a gimmick with the Voyagers, the guns can combine into a much larger blaster if you want it to. And although in this case I do prefer just having the two guns. Okay, now why don't we take a good look at that head, because that head sculpt is really cool. Very G1 style Defensor, and I do like it. I also love all the molded detail on the chest piece and all across the body. He is well designed. Not perfect. As you saw, there are some flaws to him. Like keeping all the parts pegged together. But it's not bad. I mean, I still like this figure a lot. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I think he's pretty good. I think he's worth having. And I actually dig it. Well, I do wish Groove was a limb. Rook is really good, so it's kind of hard to be upset about that. Okay, I'm just trying to get Groove back to where he belongs. Of course, I can't remember how to do it now. Typical. Oh well. Oh well, no worries. We'll just leave Groove off for now. But, in any case, I think it's time for a comparison. Now let's bring in Menasor. And hopefully we'll fit them all in frame. Let's bring him forward a bit. Let's also bring in Superion. So as you can see, Defensor looks really good with the others. I'd say he's about the same height. Maybe a tad shorter. Actually, yeah, he's the shortest of the three. Okay, yeah. I mean, I'd say Superion's about a head taller. Menasor maybe a half a head. So yeah, Defensor is the shortest of the bunch so far. But he is also bulkier. Superion and Menasor are a little bit lankier than Defensor is. So while he is shorter, he has the bulk to really make him feel big. So that's a positive in my book. But in any case, I do like him. Really, I am really fond of this guy. Oh, that's why I was doing. That was what I was doing wrong. Okay, I remembered the transformation for Groove. Thankfully, we'll get this guy on real quick. But all in all, Defensor is a really solid combiner. Yeah, he's got his flaws. There's definitely a little bit of issue with Hotspot's ability to hold together. And I think that's going to be the biggest weak spot, is that sometimes some of the connected areas for Hotspot will undo themselves when you're trying to pose them. But they're easy enough to get back into place, so you can still get them into some really nice poses. And with the articulation he boasts, yeah, this guy's going to work out really good for your display shelves. And he goes perfectly with the Combiner Wars Menasor and Superion. So yeah, I do highly recommend this guy. Think he's awesome. So far, there hasn't really been one figure I dislike from this line. I mean, Alpha Bravo, Off-Road are both really good. I like them. Optimus was solid, at least as a standalone figure. I'm still debating on the Combiner. We'll probably have a better opinion of it when the Masquerade wave comes out. So, you know, but as a figure itself, Optimus is really solid. Cyclonus, I think he turned out really good, but I just like that deluxe better. That's just my opinion. Okay, don't take it too hard. He's a really good figure. I just think there was a better one already. But in any case, Defensor is awesome. Hopefully we'll get a deluxe Groove to go with him. But Rook is an awesome figure on himself. So I don't mind him being there. And hopefully I'll be able to get that Takara version of Defensor. It depends on how Fate rolls things out, but we'll wait and see. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this little review. Hope you didn't mind the little tangent. But I will see you in the next video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And I will see you next time. Take care. So long. Have fun. And bye-bye.